Go Pizza presents SCP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
Well, we've seen all your hashtag The Sweet Life with Adam and Steve.
And they're all bad. The contest is canceled.
You guys are brutal.
We're going to go ourselves.
Yeah, and we're going to
Imagine just the three of us in a box.
That would be a good time. It'd be this.
It'd be kind of fun.
I'd bring a crown and scepter and a large cape. And I would just sit there and go over the glass and pretend to offer snacks to young children and then pull them away and go, ha.
Would you do that?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think Bougie Steve is believable.
Bougie Steve.
Bougie Steve is not believable, I don't think.
Really?
Yeah.
Popper Steve is
considering
much more...
you walked in with your Vancouver 2010 free jacket.
You know what's funny is I was going to wear something else and I was like, they'll get a kick out of this. Yeah, no,
it's
I
in good
actually
shape.
got this. I wore this to the opening ceremony for the 2010 Olympics.
Did you also carry the torch?
I did not.
It looks like a jacket like somebody would carry a torch with.
I should have.
Athletic enough.
I was just glad that they sent me.
So
Steve is actually Wayne Gretzky.
Steve
and drove up in a Ford truck. So you,
and a Ford
F-150.
Okay, Marlies. So we're going to pick three winners. So Steve, Jesse, and I will reach out to the winners tonight. Thank you so much for all of your entries. And each winner will be able to bring two friends. We've got 9 tickets to give away. We get 12 total, so 3 of us. It'll be groups of 3. It'll be your version of a podcast. So bring your Jesse, Steve, or Adam with you.
Ooh.
To the thing, and we'll just do four different podcasts all at once.
Bring someone who can host, and like a really good producer who's good at taking everyone down a peg, or 2, and then that's your crew. That's your crew. So we're recording a show during a Leaf game.
Yeah.
Well, soon to be.
Yeah.
No, the game doesn't start till 8.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's right. We'll be all right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, but it's not like we can talk about like, oh man, last night's game, oh tonight's game. Because it definitely won't be up.
So
it's like days of old.
And that's okay. We've got other things that are way more interesting.
Where did that come from?
We were talking when you were getting the coffees. We were saying like how
we used to do evening shows.
We were talking about the Marlies.
Yeah. And Steve's
know.
like, Steve's like, I'm done with the Marlies. Bougie Steve is moving on. He's got his crown and his scepter and his Vancouver jacket. He's done. He's done with the Marlies.
We're talking about the winners.
By the way, Marlies game this Saturday.
Until I figure out the show.
Marlies game this Sunday is going to be against another first place team. I'm just saying it's going to be a pretty solid matchup.
Manitoba Moose.
Moose, Brad. Okay, so yeah, I mean we are recording the podcast a little bit late because Chaz, Steve's doggy, had some issues.
With his poo.
Yeah, he had poo issues.
Sorry.
You know, if you have a dog, you're going to have poo issues from time to time.
Sometimes you have poo issues. I've never been happier for temperatures of -10 Celsius or below.
And that is where we will leave it.
All right.
I have a question for you guys.
Makes it easier for, yep.
Who do what do Sens fans like more?
Ottawa.
Because it was who last year, or last episode. So what do Sens fans like more? Erik Karlsson, the Ottawa Senators, or the Ottawa Senators actually winning a game?
Still Erik Karlsson. Still definitely Erik Karlsson.
I mean, after the road trip they had, it was nice to see them beat the Rangers, and you got to know, like, Zach Smith.
Was it? Was it nice?
You missed the thing was, it was an absolute tire fire going into that game outside of it. And that's what we need to talk about because, yes, I mean, obviously, Craig Anderson snaps a 7-game losing streak. Craig Anderson.
Wow.
Bobby Ryan gets a goal and an assist. $7 million Bobby Ryan.
Did you see the freaking move he tried to pull on Ryan McDonough that didn't work?
I think I might have missed it.
Oh, he like daintily tried to put it behind his back. It was like a cocky player in EASHL. And I wish so bad Ryan McDonough was mic'd up for that, just to hear him go, get the the hell are you doing?
But we do need to talk about the sentence heard around the world, which was, normally Nashville it's not a hotbed for controversy. It's a hotbed for, I love those guys.
It's a hotbed for...
Just pinch them on the cheek.
It's hot chicken. That's what it's a hotbed for.
Absolutely. And Diamondbacks.
They'll get you.
But
look out for the hot chicken. It'll get you. Boltons.
Kyle Turris said this because he didn't want to leave Ottawa. He said, it's tough because I think management did want to sign me, but I think that the owner didn't, and that was his decision. Now, that's a pretty bold statement for a hockey player to make.
And it's okay because the Senators are not at all an emotionally run team, and they took their time to make a calculated response. Like probably a couple days down the line. Right?
Right. Well, in light of what we talked about last episode, and if you missed last episode, we were talking about the fact that I guess there might have been a management/ownership anger, outrage burst after Erik Karlsson made the comments he made about wanting to make as much money as he possibly can. Nobody blames him except for Sens management and ownership, who have a problem with him saying that publicly because nobody really has a reason for that. Of course, he wants to make as much money as possible.
Obvious.
Why would that be a problem for them? They should expect that.
Devil's advocate, they might be like, yeah, we know. Why'd you say it?
Why wouldn't you?
Fair enough. Because
Tell me why not.
Maybe your hothead of an owner will go
well
and lose his mind.
And apparently,
what's better than ownership getting involved? It always works.
Man. So Pierre Dorion comes out after this Turris comment, and they do a press conference before the game. And I remember I was reading tweets, and I think it was Arash Madani that said, the Senators are having in Ottawa, the Senators are having a news conference not to announce a trade, but to announce that everything's good. And normally, if you have a news conference, it's because something's changing. Like a flash news conference, like it's not a post game or whatever.
It's like Bergevin earlier this year.
Yeah. So Pierre Dorion said this. He said, every hockey decision goes through me. And when I heard that comment, I was like, yes.
But what's better?
But Eugene Melnyk still signs the checks, yours and the players that you want to sign,
including his. I think that's the most important part. At Puck Talks yesterday, a point was brought up repeatedly. And that was, we make fun of GMs, like Jim Benning, for example, and like Pierre Dorion, but we have no idea what their marching orders are. Like, we have no idea, like, hey, we want you to rebuild and make the playoffs. What? How do you do that? So if you see them make a nonsensical move, it might be because they were given nonsensical orders. Poor Pierre Dorion.
I feel bad for him.
I do too. I do love the press conference where they just pull up a podium in front of a house fire and calmly explain how there's not a house fire going on behind them.
So do you think that, it was interesting because Doug McLean afterwards said, well, the Wolves were at the door and they shut them down and then the Sens go out and win a game. And
good. Is that how he spun it?
That was that.
Oh, thank goodness.
Because
thank goodness.
I felt like it was the exact opposite.
Who do you cheer for? Who do you cheer for? This is exactly the sort of thing that I love to happen. When I looked at the box scores last night and I saw the Senators win, you know what I said, Adam? Good. If they're too bad, they start to make changes. Win every now and then. Go ahead. You can even do it against my team.
Matt Duchene had a good setup to Bobby Ryan. Like I said, like the guy they traded for.
Redeem the trade. There it is. It's good. Everything's fine now. Everything's great. Carey Price stole like 4 games.
Everything's good in Montreal.
Everything's fine there.
They were back
now.
in the playoffs, fought for a bit, and then Boston went and won 7 out of 10 games or
something.
something.
But they're fine. They'll be back. It's great. Ottawa, Montreal, you want to win 3 games in a row every now and then, you go right ahead. This Leafs fan gives you permission. Remember, you got to go through us. We are in charge. I love it. I love it. If you're a Leaf fan, that's exactly what you want. They're emotional. They're ready to do something stupid. Give them a little candy.
Pierre Dorion.
A 3-2 win. Hey, shout out to the New York Rangers.
Hey.
Thank you for that. Thank you. I'm sorry it had to be you. I'm sorry. I'm equally sorry you got to be in the Metro Division. But thank you for that. That was a Christmas card for the New York Rangers. Thank you.
Interesting point that I think not a lot of people made a lot of because everybody was focused on what the Senators' response to Kyle Turris was going to be was Pierre Dorion saying, in terms of changes, player personnel-wise, they're looking at everything. And I wondered what your thoughts are. Well, I didn't finish that sentence.
No, I was like,
what your thoughts
He'll get to it.
Are.
Did you have something there, Jesse?
No, go ahead.
See, what's interesting is, wasn't it floated when Karlsson was asked for his no trade list? Wasn't it floated that this was just done to light a fire under him?
Well, no. Well, so yeah. So Elliot Friedman said it was Erik Karlsson rattled their cage, so they wanted to rattle it right back.
Rattle theirs.
And then yesterday, we find out in an email from Eugene Melnick, who, by the way, is definitely not selling the team, according to this email, that they asked him for, they asked him for Erik Karlsson, that is, for the trade list, so that for a refinancing thing, they had to do some sort of financial thing, which sounds a lot like BS to me. I just don't see how that would even factor into an NHL team that you need to know a certain player's no trade list. That doesn't make any sense. But who am I? I'm not a lawyer.
Or a team owner, Adam. How many NHL teams have you owned?
0, my friend. 0.
You can't comment.
I can't. You're right. I can't comment unless I've directly done it. That's like saying, you know what? I've never parachuted. And I don't think I want to. You can't comment until you've done it.
Justin Bourne was at Puck Talks, and first thing I do, I don't even say hi to him. I walk up to him. He's having a beer. I go, "Hey, you having a beer?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Oh, have you even made a beer before?" And he just goes, "This is going to be my whole night, isn't it?" This is gonna be and it was like the first thing he was asked by the audience, so it was great.
What did he say?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. I kind of walked into the middle of the question.
Okay.
I was in the back.
Oh, okay.
I was in the back, but I heard him get asked it. There was it was pretty funny. So I go up there and I just do my yelly, screamy thing that I do, and it's scary in front of a live audience with no jump cuts. Then the next panel is Myrtle, Dello, and Justin Bourne, and they just talked about like analytics and clever things. And then James Duthie and Pierre LeBrun get up there after, and they're 2 seconds in, and LeBrun's like, "They said no math. I don't know any of this. What's Corsi? I don't get it.
That's funny.
That's awesome. Yeah. So the answer to your question is you don't remember how Justin Bourne answered the most important question of the night.
No, I believe I said that right away.
Hey, you were in the back.
Yeah.
You clarified.
I believe Jesse was listening.
Was Hat Guy there?
He was not. He doesn't get invited to those things.
He should.
Here's a question that you have not answered yet, sir.
Okay.
How do you respond to Pierre Dorion saying they are looking at everything?
I think it's just him trying to motivate his team, because what was something that you said was in there? It was similar to a Bergevin quote from earlier in the season where he's like, "The answer is in the room." I wonder if this is the Sens trying to find out if the answer is in the room. I mean, if I'm Ottawa, and all these financial concerns, I could sell off a bunch of players and save money that way. That's true. Or what if we're able to rekindle a little bit of what we had last season and we squeak into that third Atlantic spot? It's December. How hard would it be for Ottawa to make the playoffs? And then you have a license to print money. And by that, I mean you make the playoffs and play the Leafs in the first round. Ottawa should not be selling already. Evaluating, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Teams would drool for a guy like Mike Hoffman. I don't know if they're into trading Mike Hoffman, but there's an option. Mark Stone. I think they should keep him.
Cody Ceci apparently is on the market.
He's a cornerstone. Cody Ceci is a guy they should maybe look at. Alex Burrows maybe as like a super depth option for some team. I don't know about Erik Karlsson, but
we also got tweeted a million times about their unprotected pick for next year. So it is protected. So it's protected for this year.
Yes.
So if Ottawa falls to the bottom 10, they keep their pick for this year, and that pick that they traded to Colorado becomes an unprotected 2019 first-round pick. So if Ottawa sucks next year and they're the 30th team and they get the first overall pick, it goes to Colorado. So they can't suck next year. And if they suck this year, next year's pick is in jeopardy because they get to keep this year's sucky pick. So
I didn't even think of next year's pick.
So Ottawa can't be terrible next year because their first-round draft pick is Colorado's.
Oh,
I'm actually at a loss for words right now because I was like, oh well, it's a protected pick. But if they sell everyone off,
they can't. They won't. So that means they won't. They can't.
And you want to give up that pick this year because you want to be like if you're terrible, you got to be at least 11th. Because if you get a high pick this year, next year you're screwed.
That should be their entire goal: is to get at least 19th.
Damn Joe Sakic.
Wow. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Good move. Damn. No, but they could finish 19th and potentially still win one of the lotteries.
Yeah, it's true because the lotteries are very scattered. Yeah.
Imagine that. They have a comeback of a season and we weren't one of the bottom 10. And Colorado wins the
Funny that it
Rasmus
happened.
Dahlin.
Funny that it happened with the same organization, different cities, but it's almost as though the way the Nordiques / Avalanche pivoted and won a cup based on the Ark Lindros trade, the Matt Duchene trade could have a similar effect. And I'm not saying that they're going to get Peter Forsberg out of it, but holy moly, they got a lot for Matt Duchene.
Wow. I mean,
From two different teams.
the Avalanche did so many things that I just thought were so dumb for so long. And I'm trying to think of an instance where a GM completely made me do a 180 on my opinion of them.
The next
one
move is the move that you
Let's
be
wary because it's one trade.
one move.
Such a good one, though.
Yeah.
Holy smoke. I didn't even... that would suck so much. Ottawa's so handcuffed.
Yeah, they have to win these next 2 years.
They got to spend money.
I guess they were expecting to anyway. But Steve, spending money, I think, let's check this, but I'm fairly sure I read that they're only like $1,750,000 under the cap. Like I don't think they're even operating at the internal cap anymore.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think they're comfortable spending the amount of money they currently are, and that amount of money is not cutting it. So what are they going to do next year?
How they spent that amount of money is not cutting it. And that comes, I mean, that's and I hate to bring this up, but it's the deals like the guy that went on waivers today, Matt Bolesky. It's those deals that they can hurt you. And somebody said, listen, they tweeted me after last episode and they said, listen, Dion Phaneuf is actually pretty well liked in Ottawa. You know what? Which he should be.
I've gotten that impression, yeah.
And you know, he might get paid, he might be a $5.5 million defenseman making $7 million, or a $5 million making $7 million. But Bobby Ryan is the one that apparently, according to Sens fans, and I think rightly so, feels like a handcuff right now.
Dude, over $7.5 million bucks?
7.25 till 2022, and he's 30. Also, they have their current cap space is 2.7 million, and their projected cap space is 1.7.
Whoa! You know what contract's also not looking awesome is Mike Condon.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I got cap friendly. He's at 2.4. That's not bad.
It's not.
It's still backup.
It was a decent bet, but like
I'd have made that bet.
he hasn't been great.
I'd have made that bet.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah,
Probably.
Adam, it's those $4 to $7 million players. Those guys who you give a little bit too much, and it's not worth it.
And a little too much term and a little too late.
Yeah.
You know,
meanwhile, we're like, Nylander at 7 sounds good.
It's the 50-point guy who did it once who goes back to 30 points a year.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. You know what's amazing is every now and then something happens and you know it's going to happen and everyone seems to agree that it's going to happen.
Except for the one that's going through it?
And we all just ignore it. I still remember...
Well, what are you particularly talking about here?
A few things. A few things that are bugging me right now. Okay, so one, and this is a throwback example. I remember heading into, I want to say, the 2007 draft. Everyone was just raving about PK Subban. Just raving about him. Oh, but he's a project. He's going to take a while, but he's going to be something. Sure enough, goes second round, and wouldn't you know it, he's something. Then there's Matt Bolesky. We all said, watch out.
He's going to get overpaid.
This is going to be a dumb contract. And then he signed for less than we all anticipated.
Because it was supposed to be 5 over 5.
And it still wasn't worth it.
Still wasn't worth it. And the one that is bugging me right now, really bugging me right now, it's bugging me as a Leafs fan, but it should bug everybody. Alex DeBrincat's success.
Yeah.
3 straight 50-goal seasons in the OHL.
We passed on him.
Oh. Everyone passed on him. Fucking guy was a second rounder.
Yeah,
first F-bomb in the episode. That's how frustrating. We all knew it wasn't a matter of if. It was inevitable DeBrincat was going to be great. Here he is, first year. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
He was so great, we couldn't even get his name right the first time.
Brindacat. Yegor Korshkov better be the shit. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, wasn't it Dermott they took next? Or was it Dermott they took? It was Korshkov, okay.
Or,
who did we take?
I thought it was Dermott.
I think they had 2 second rounders. They picked Korshkov and traded down. So they got Dermott. I think. I'm not sure. I'm cool with them getting Dermott.
They got Korshkov for the 31st pick.
Yeah.
And then DeBrincat went 39.
He went 39?
Yeah. So round 2, that would be what? 8?
The 9th pick.
9th pick, yeah.
Had they picked him, it would have been one of the greatest drafts of all time.
Oh my God. Okay,
Like,
wait, what year was that?
That
was
we had the first overall, 2016. That was Matthews.
It would have been the
Oh my God. And then
Matt
you pick
Ryan.
his line mate? Forever? Literally forever. You pick Matthews and his line mate forever. Nylander on the right. Holy
And we
shit.
had the chance to.
Yep.
Which is crazy.
And every single person passed on him.
Well, even Chicago passed on him, technically.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, they did. Who did Chicago pick first?
Actually, no. Chicago didn't have a first-round pick.
Son of a gun!
You know why?
And we let them off the hook again!
You know why? Because they traded it so they could win a Stanley Cup.
Oh my God.
Was that the Hansel trade?
One of them.
No, you're thinking of the Vermette trade.
Vermette trade.
But that was the year before, unless the pick carried over. Oh boy, I don't know. I don't know.
9 would have been. No, that doesn't make sense.
But
Wait, why did Chicago have the 9 pick?
I don't know.
I wonder who they got that pick
Yeah,
from.
we're getting.
Yeah,
we're
We're getting meta here.
They got it from Buffalo. Because Buffalo has the 9 pick in the next
Of course they freaking did.
Oh my God.
So Jack Eichels,
Oh my God.
line mate forever.
Oh my God.
That's Jack Eichels' line mate right there. That's the guy they needed. That's funny.
Oh my God. It's just anyway. So to the point of Bolesky, we all knew it was going to end this way.
Dave Bolin.
Oh.
And Florida, thank God, Dale Talon saved Dave Nonis and Brendan Shanahan's first year there. And Dale Talon saved us from ourselves. I said it at the time, $27 million over 5 years for Dave Bolin, who is not even playing.
That would have made like 2 of Shanahan's first 5 moves or something like that. Extending Carlisle and signing Boland. Imagine how much different we look at the Shanna plan.
Well, and I think we remember at the time we had Chris Johnston on, and he said, listen, the extension of Carlisle was to send a message to the players. It wasn't because they wanted to retain Carlisle. It was because they wanted a culture correction.
Guys say that, yeah.
And that made sense to me.
Sorry.
But anyway, we're getting off. But
I just got going because the Bolesky thing reminded me of inevitable things that pissed me off.
So what inevitable thing with Ottawa is going to piss you off then? Is there a relation to that? Or is it just a tangent?
No, I was just going on the Bolesky thing because you mentioned it. Although, hey, Ottawa, you might as well get Bolesky.
Why not?
Do it.
Here's the problem.
His hero chart was good. Bolesky. I was surprised. Sorry.
I've been looking this up.
Great.
They traded their first pick.
Who did?
Chicago traded their first pick to the Jets for Andrew Ladd.
Oh.
Which is why they couldn't draft a Brincat 22nd overall. And then they acquired the 39th overall pick from Montreal for Shaw in the Shaw deal.
Oh!
They got DeBrincat for Shaw.
Oh, that's even better.
And they got the 45th.
Wait, now how
did they get all that for him?
How did Montreal
They got 2 seconds for Shaw.
Yeah, they got the 45th pick and the DeBrincat.
How did they get?
Pick.
Oh my God! And then talk to me about this. How did they get Buffalo second? How did Montreal get Buffalo second?
Do
we know?
How did
Was it
Montreal get Buff? That's
Or
a
was
good
it
question.
Winnipeg getting it? See, okay, I need to do a trade tree.
No, it was
'Cause I'm fired up.
because Montreal gave that pick to.
I'm fired up. I got to
Chicago.
do a trade tree.
Because Buffalo had given Montreal the trade.
Yeah, so I
was
don't
that
know.
a Josh Georges thing, or was he a free agent signing?
I will find out.
Oh
How,
my God! You imagine?
Because there were 2 trades made that day, players for 2 second rounders. One was Shaw to Montreal for 2 seconds. The 2 seconds went to Chicago. And then Lars Eller went to Washington, and Montreal got 2 seconds back.
Let's say they're both the same age. Let's say Shaw and DeBrincat are both the same age. They're both 21.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do a trade straight up?
Absolutely not.
Do you do a trade straight up right now?
There's no chance ever. Look, Shaw has a Stanley Cup. I think he has 2. Or was it 1 or 2? Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
One's pretty good.
He was on the 2011 team, so
He had that really cool photo of him bleeding from the face, holding the Stanley Cup above his head. Like you knew he was going on the ice, like, they're trying to patch him up. He's like, don't patch it up too good.
No.
This is just,
No.
this is going to look
dramatic. It's awesome.
like
Good for him.
Nate Diaz before Nate Diaz.
And I don't want to take away from Andrew Shaw because
It's Alex DeBrincat.
It's not even Alex. It's the fact that Montreal made that trade. It's not Andrew Shaw's problem.
I got to do a trade tree.
You
I
do.
got to do some research.
bananas.
I'm so fired up. I was tweeting the other day. I don't even know how it came up. And yeah, we're completely abandoning the Bolesky.
Don't worry,
Ottawa
we're
thing
coming
right
back to
now.
Ottawa.
Yeah, sure. Sorry. I was tweeting the other day that the Blackhawks dynasty. Oh yeah, so the Blackhawks and Penguins have won 6 of the last 9 Stanley Cups.
Yep. With
And-
LA winning another 2.
Yes, and Boston winning the odd one left out. And it's funny that it's Boston too. The Leafs basically helped build the Penguins and Blackhawks over those years.
Versteeg, Boland, Kessel.
So the Leafs gave
Corrado.
Chicago the pick that drafted Saad. The first time the Penguins won the Cup, they gave him Hal Gill. When the Bruins won the Cup, they gave him Caberlet. And yeah, they gave them all the world of picks for it was Bolin and Versteeg, and there was all this crap. It was basically the Blackhawks were like their core players, guys that the Leafs had given them, and like 6 other guys. That was basically it. It's frustrating. Frustrating, man. Frustrating. Oh, and sorry, I remember other things that were in my Twitter feed that day because I got a very photographic memory. Remember we were talking about former Leafs currently playing in the NHL that we would want back in the team?
Yeah.
None of us said Anton Trollman.
Yeah.
I thought about him. I honestly did. I didn't bring him up. I was like,
I
yeah,
forgot.
he's great. There's no question. He wasn't my first choice.
Yeah, but
He is good, man. And they messed that one up too.
but Byron Fraze.
Back to Ottawa. So
Sorry.
they're running at probably what would have been over their internal cap in years past, and I don't know if that's still the case in terms of if I guess they don't have an internal cap or they're running higher or whatever. But
It sounds like everything goes through the owner, so whatever they're paying is their internal cap.
just a couple days ago, their announced attendance was somewhere in the 13,000 people range.
Oh, okay. Ottawa fans on the ground who listen to this podcast.
Is exactly where I wanted to go. I'm glad you're doing this.
Please help us out trying to figure this out. Okay, so we made fun of them. We jumped on the never-ending train. It was like one of those crazy never-ending trains that you get stuck at a railroad crossing and have to wait half an hour as it crosses, of people making fun of the Sens for not being able to
Sell out
playoff games. We got lots of messages from concerned citizens living in and around the Ottawa area talking about there was this payment issue.
Canadian government, a lot of government jobs in Ottawa. It's our capital city, just in case you don't know from our American friends.
Yeah, people couldn't afford to go to the games and whatever was the excuse some people made up. And I mean, if you literally don't have the money
Then
to
you
go
can't
to
go
the
to the game.
games, and it's not your fault that you don't have that money, then retraction. Absolutely. That's bullshit. And, Sens fans don't deserve that grief. My question is, still?
I don't know if it's still. I think I think it's a cultural thing. And I would love to know. I want to know. I want to know what happened.
They just made the conference final.
Dude, there's something going on there. I think fans are mad at the team for something. And I don't know.
Why?
Maybe it's the shit show that we've been watching the last few days. Maybe this is a culmination of a lot of shit that's been boiling.
They can't be
How
that
can they not-
fickle. They can't be that fickle.
Steve,
They just made the conference final.
it's not about the team. It's about everything else around the team. It's about ownership meddling. It's about
Oh, totally.
the fact that
that's been going on forever.
but
maybe that's it.
But
You're
maybe
saying
it's worse.
atrophy?
Maybe it's just worse. And maybe apathy.
Apathy.
I think maybe people are just tired. And I was reading some Senators' comments on Twitter, and again, Twitter's an extreme example of everything. It's the most extreme.
Of course.
But somebody said, they're making this really hard for me to put my money into this team. I just don't, because the person tweeting this said, I just don't believe there's a future here. So why am I investing my money in this team? Because they look at it as like it's an entertainment investment.
It's funny. Big trades are 2 parts. You know? Remember back in the day when the Leafs acquired Owen Nolan?
Yes, for Brad Boyce and a first-round pick, I think.
That's right. But at the time, I was like, take it. Cool. And I mean, damn, Owen Nolan was good.
He was.
But it's 2 parts, right? 2 parts is the hype behind, holy smokes, look at this trade that they just pulled off. The second part is them actually doing well. Owen Nolan comes to the Leafs. He's injured. I think he missed a couple games. First game, 2 goals. Huge celly, just, I could still picture it. Went nuts, and from there, all bets are off. I was just all the way in excited. So the Sens, there's this league-wide bidding war to get Matt Duchene. It's been a story for like a year now. They get him. Whoa!
Ottawa?
All right. Us? All right. And then
They have to play the first 2 games in Sweden.
oh my God.
Which
First
sucks.
2 games in Sweden, he struggles mightily. And I believe I read a stat where that the win against the Rangers was Matt Duchene's first win on home ice as a Sen.
Meanwhile, Kyle Turris has 13 points in 14 games.
He's been incredible. And he's brought some of the other Preds to life. I'm trying to remember. Who is it? Was it Calle Yarncroke has caught fire or something since Turris joined on board? It's amazing what a little bit of depth will do. It's amazing what a little bit of depth will do.
You know what would have been interesting?
What?
Total aside, but that's what our show's about. Imagine the Coyotes had paid Kyle Turris the minimal money he was asking. Because what was he making beforehand anyway?
Before the extension?
Yeah.
I'm really not sure.
Well,
4 something, 5 something?
Jesse, can you look up Kyle Turris' salary just for a second here? Here, Steve, you don't. Jesse,
No, I'm going to look up something else.
Oh, okay. Because I'm just thinking, like, if the Coyotes had Kyle Turris still.
The Coyotes.
Yeah.
The Coyotes?
Remember, like, if they'd had Kyle Turris all these years, would they have struggled as much?
He made 3.5.
So they didn't want to pay him 3.5.
Oh, he's making 3.5 this year. And then, he made that on the last contract was 3.5.
The whole reason he was traded to Ottawa in the first place is Coyotes were like, no, that's too much money. What a joke. What a joke.
You got to remember, though, Kyle Turris hasn't always been this good.
No, but
He had a rocky start to his career.
he did. He did.
His first coach was Wayne Gretzky, I think.
Well, that's why.
Remember that?
And no offense to Wayne, but he was not a good coach.
No, and I'm sure he'd tell you that.
Yeah.
His record would show.
Yeah, it wasn't. Well,
I don't think anybody's like,
wasn't a great situation either.
No, it wasn't. But it's just one of those things you kind of sit back and go, man, hang on to the assets that you draft, man, and make sure you draft. Make sure you draft.
There's like some crazy stat about the top 50 goal scorers since like the lockout, and it's like 42 out of 50 are from the team. They're still with the team who drafted them.
Except for
because your talent is always you draft it.
You draft
That's
it.
how you get the superstars.
I know we love trades, man, but
Yeah.
No,
we should fall out of love with trades.
If you, generally speaking, like, okay, that's over a long period of time, season in, season out. Like, go look. All those players are 1, usually max 2 teams into their NHL career.
And that's it.
They don't get moved around a whole lot.
You know who gets moved? Competent bums.
Competent bums, journeyman goalies.
You know who always gets a $4.5 million contract? A guy who's been on a couple teams.
Yes.
And now he's a free agent.
Yes.
And he had one 50-goal season, 50-point season.
Yeah. he got out of competent bum territory for some reason.
Yeah.
And
Matt Molesky.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden he went back.
So, okay, Shane, okay, I'm looking at the Duchene trade. So Ottawa got Duchene, Nashville got Turris. To Colorado, Ottawa first-round pick. Ottawa third-round pick. Shane Bowers, who I think was from the Sens.
And a good Shane Bowers is a good defensive prospect, is he not?
I'm trying to remember. Andrew Hammond. Yeah, no, I think Shane Bowers would have been the Sens prospect.
One of the prospects from Nashville was also very highly touted.
Samuel Girard.
That's the
Or
one.
Samuel Girard.
Yep.
So let's say Ottawa does go all in with the rebuild, which, I mean, because of this trade, they can't. You know what would have been really great to have? That first-round pick, that third-round pick, and Shane Bowers. No, Shane Bowers is a center.
Okay, so it was Samuel Girard I'm talking about then.
Yeah. That's my... Oh, boy.
But even so.
Boy. Now, okay, remember earlier I was like, ha. Now I feel bad. That
I
is
don't
a
feel
hard...
I don't feel bad. Good for their. I feel bad for the fans.
Hard swing and a hard miss. I feel bad for the fans.
The timing's kind of funny because this Sunday they have the big outdoor game.
Oh,
And all hockey media is currently in Ottawa.
You know what? I'm glad. Well, and maybe that's why they called all the press conference and everything.
And they're playing Montreal.
Elliot Friedman's here. We better do a press conference.
Yeah, make him sit in the cold. No, and
He's got to put on a toque, by the way. What the heck is wrong with Elliot? What are you trying to prove, Elliot? I know your hair is fantastic, but
He's
come on,
TV.
man.
Some of us are Canadian, Adam.
Doug McLean had a hat on.
Is Elliot
Darren
freaking
Millard.
that guy who wears like a bubble vest?
Yes.
And he's like, "What? I'm not even cold. I'm not even cold."
I spent time in Saskatchewan.
The next time he comes on the show, I'm going to be like, Elliot, come on. Tim and Sid were wearing them. Darren and Doug were wearing them. Come on, Elliot. Put
Also,
on the
they're
toque.
very nice Sportsnet custom toques.
They are.
They're
Yeah, I
gorgeous.
would
I
want to
want
show
them.
that
Yeah,
off.
I
I've
want
been
one.
slacking on the free stuff.
Yeah,
Here
man,
I am
they're-
wearing free stuff from 7 years ago. I need a Sportsnet too.
You've been at Sportsnet for 3 years, and you do not have enough gear. Like there's
No, I
so
got-
much swag, like just oozing out of that place.
I got a couple
Come on.
stickers. I got summer skates. Sportsnet summer skates.
What
Wow.
is that?
They're sandals, but the top part is like hockey laces.
Oh, yes, I've seen those come up.
But
Every
I
once in a
never
while,
wear
they gave them
sandals,
away
so-
in the Kiss lunchroom, but they were always like XXL, so they'd fit Jesse and not anyone else.
I don't even think my feet are that big.
They might fit me like awkwardly.
Fun fact about my overly bigness. I went to Moore's today so I could get fitted for a suit for
Jesse's
Adam's
big
wedding.
and tall. and
And I walked out. Obviously, the suit they gave me to try on isn't my size because they don't have my size, and they gotta fit it and order.
Hello, sir. Here is your suit. Try this one on. It used to belong to Jack Skellington.
And the lady goes to punch in my arm length in the system, and she says, "I'm sorry, it only goes up to 20.5." And I measured your arms, and they're 21 inches, sir. You literally broke the measurement system with your limbs. So when I get
wow, man.
You're the biggest person I know.
So when I get my shirt, they got to add a little extension to it.
They can
That's
extend it.
unreal.
They have shirt extenders? I didn't know you could do that.
They add a little piece.
Oh, that's
They
cool.
got button extenders for the neck.
That
That
I
is
know.
a
Yeah.
revolution for me.
big for me, too.
I'm so stoked.
Big head,
So,
big
yeah.
I
neck.
almost passed out live on Leafs TV once back in the day. No, because I like had no dress shirts, so I did up the top button, and I'm like, friggin' die every commercial break. Oh, I allowed blood to go back up into my head.
So you're going to be okay?
Yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a little stressful.
Making the boys wear bow ties, by the way, for the wedding. Everybody's
I've
wearing a
never
bow
worn
tie.
one. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be nice, I think. I think you guys are going to look sharp as hell. And that's what it's all about, really.
See, it's his wedding, and I think he just wants us to look like dicks.
I think
No,
we're
I
gonna
don't.
look like James Bond.
I think you guys are going to look great. Oh, no, you look great.
Have you talked to the Bab Sox people about getting custom wedding
I
Bab
asked,
socks?
and they didn't say it, but I first off, they don't have custom wedding Bab socks.
Well, for you, they can make an
No,
exception.
but I don't think they can. I think part of the licensing deal is they can't alter Mike Babcock's face, right? Because we said we put a veil
They
on.
did for Movember. Oh, I guess he had
Yeah,
to agree.
but
That's
that's
part
a
of the
cherry.
deal.
He had to agree to it.
Like, you know, and they probably have to
obviously-
go to Mike and be like, "Can we put a veil on you?"
Yeah.
That
No,
probably wouldn't go
Just,
over well.
no, get them to put a little bow tie below Babcock. Just
that's
do
a little bow tie.
that. You don't put a veil.
I think it'd be hilarious if it was a veil.
Joke.
A veil would be funnier though.
No, put a bow tie.
What about instead of good wife, or good husband? Never mind.
Or
You know, sometimes if
we can just
I'll get him next time.
Jose Canseco struck out the most in the league, but still got 50 home runs,
You
right?
bet.
Jesse, what were you saying?
Jose Canseco.
Jose Canseco.
Why?
I was talking about him with somebody today, and I read his tweets afterwards because like he's got an interesting Twitter account, and then we were talking about steroids.
Baseball's
and
ultimate warrior.
then, yeah, and then I went down the Jose Canseco rabbit hole, so that's why I went to Jose Canseco.
Because like Aaron Judge did that like 3 months
I
ago.
know.
You could have made a more relevant reference.
Steroids, but does Aaron Judge have quite as good a tan as Jose Canseco?
Nobody does.
Nobody's got a tan
No.
like Jose Canseco,
No.
right?
Was Aaron Judge on The Simpsons?
He was not.
Not yet.
Can we just talk
The
about
Simpsons haven't predicted it yet.
Can we also talk about the fact that the Blue Jays need to apply for a transfer out of their division?
Oh,
Do you know that Manny Machado might end up as a New York Yankee as well?
I saw that. My
What the hell are we going to do?
So you're all aware. Are you aware of Baybaw?
Baybaw. It's Baybaw silly.
Baybaw. Baybaw, for those of you who don't know, is so over the past few years, I've been really doing my best to learn baseball, and I'm really starting to find it more and more fun. And I'm learning all the little rules, and a lot of them are really dumb. And my friend, no, they're really dumb.
See, if somebody was new to hockey,
Oh, a lot of them are really dumb, and they can call it whatever they want. I yell and scream. My career is about calling the NHL dumb.
is it dumb or is it the fun of the game?
Okay, for example,
Hashtag united by sport.
that needs to be followed by a stinger. So, I get a text today, and it's just a picture of a tweet from Shai Davidi, I think it was. It was
Well done. You nailed the name.
with the 13th overall pick, the Blue Jays pass,
Yeah.
and all the text underneath was just Baybaw. I'm like, wait, you had the 13th overall pick, and you just went, no, thank you,
Because they have allotment money for what they can sign their picks. Remember, they've got like 50 rounds, right?
Yeah. So
why?
Because there's a lot of people in your organization. You
Baybaw.
got to fill 4 minor league teams and 1 summer team.
There are so many
one
minor
winter ball
league
team.
teams.
There's so many
Yeah.
baseball players, man. There's so
like-
many.
Are there more baseball players or soccer players in any given organization?
Soccer. Well,
It depends on.
in
There's
an
12
organization?
people.
Soccer's got like academy. Oh yeah, it's true.
There's
12
literally
people.
12 people. There's 13 people on a team plus like subs and stuff.
That's
So.
crazy. Like my brother-in-law played for one of Ross County in the SFL, Scottish Football League, one of their reserve teams. But he was like the youth team for the reserve team, and I'm like, wait, okay, I still don't actually know how many tiers down he was.
I think there's I mean, I
Still
think
don't know.
it's different in the UK and in Europe than
Yeah.
it would be here but they have a ton of they've got they'll pick you out when you're like 6 years old and they put you into the Manchester United development program. Like there's a guy, is it Vasquez on TFC who was in the Barcelona program, grew up in the imagine you went to high school at Barcelona's soccer
he scored
academy.
the 2-0 goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
that's
sports.
and that's a guy that like came up with some of the legends in the game, like Lionel Messi came up through that organization, and he grew up with them. It's just it's a totally different world. I think baseball is a lot the same, right? Like it's just you get out of high school and you're into a program, or you're going to the NCAA, and
once you're drafted, you can still play in the NCAA.
yeah, exactly, and you're not going to be a good player until you're like 25 anyway.
Yeah.
So it's
I prefer my normal sport with glowing pucks
right.
and
Also,
offside goals that are not offside.
The draft in baseball is in the middle of the season.
Which is
They have it in July.
So what was today then?
I don't
Rule
know.
5 today.
Was it the Rule 5? I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
What the hell
Is
is
Rule
Rule
5 in the middle?
5?
Rule 5's in the middle of the season, then there's the other one, right?
No, the regular draft is in the middle, so it's probably Rule 5.
Rule
today.
5.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's the 5th rule. You don't know?
Yeah. No. What? No.
Hey, most surprising news of the day in the NHL world. Chris Neil retired. And why is that surprising? Because Chris Neil hadn't retired yet.
A little bit.
It was like, wait, what? Is he still playing?
I kind of had a feeling this was coming because I saw a few people chirp because he got added to the Sens alumni team for this outdoor game. And everyone's like, yeah, but he's totally not retired. No.
Darcy Tucker tweeted something today.
Oh, I
He
saw
took a
it.
jab at him?
No, he was making fun of himself. Tucker goes, well, I guess this is I guess I'm not playing in any more Leafs Sens alumni games.
Yes.
Basically giving Chris Neil kudos.
Aw.
Like, because Chris Neil could beat him up.
But that's how long Chris Neil's been playing. Chris Neil fought Ty Domi and Darcy Tucker and Brian McCabe in the playoffs against the Leafs.
I was trying to convince Myrtle last night because The Athletic was maybe going to write about Chris Neil retiring. I wanted the picture that he used to be Darcy Tucker waving goodbye to Chris Neil when the Leafs eliminated him that one time.
To look at
It's such a good picture too. He's just like, bye. It's great.
I missed that. I missed that Darcy Tucker intensity, man. It was
What a maniac.
wild. He had crazy eyes. I want to have him on the show one day and just be like, so let's talk about your crazy eyes for a second.
What brings out the crazy eyes in like mid-40s suburban Darcy Tucker? Yeah.
All right. Question. If Darcy Tucker was an 18-year-old today, could he play in the NHL?
Yes.
Andrew Shaw.
Yeah.
Darcy Tucker scored goals.
Yeah, he was a perennial 20 goal scorer.
I think he scored 31 once or twice.
His
decent on the power play.
He wasn't the fastest skater, but for whatever reason he never lagged behind. And he was physical and tough, but when he was physical, I mean, back then it was like, finish your check, take yourself out of the play. Yeah. But Darcy Tucker, like, it was like, if you don't hit him,
Take yourself out of the play.
that's what, like, when every time I see Matt Martin hit someone, I'm like, okay, now Matt Martin's out of the play. But back then it was like, you finish the check. Yeah. You're right. That's a plur. It's a player.
It was a good player.
But
Darcy Tucker.
Tucker had an ability to hit people, and it was where the play was.
And he had a nose for the net. There was this stretch, I remember, I think it was during like the Paul Maurice era, where they just had this play, pass the puck around at the point, go to a guy in the high slot, he'd feed it across to Tucker, banging in every single time. He was like JVR, about half a foot shorter.
Yeah.
And it would go in every time.
When was Darcy Tucker drafted?
I want to say 1996 by Montreal.
What round?
It was by Montreal.
Fourth.
I'm also going to say fourth. I'm going to say 1990. What year did you say?
I said 96. It might be too late. I think it might be 95, but I'm going to stick with my answer.
I'm going to say 94.
And what were your rounds? You said four, and
Four.
you say four.
Habs.
The round is 6.
Ah, wow.
You nailed Montreal Canadiens. The year is 1993.
Wow. Holy smokes.
What is 42, his age,
Oh, boy.
divided by 3?
Steven?
Oh! Is it 14?
14.
Yeah!
I had to check the calculator.
Well done, buddy.
Matt Stajan's number.
Yeah.
Who was in a movie with Kevin Bacon? No. I tried to make it work. Didn't work.
There's a lot of the Leafs play the Wild tonight. There is a lot of stories about, basically the whole story is Alex Stalock versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I have seen in the last month, because there was an athletic article at least a month and a half ago about Alex Stalock and his time here.
Because he was supposed to play the Leafs.
Right, and they did it then.
Yeah.
And now there's several other articles from Sportsnet, from Athletic, from other outlets, talking about how Alex Stalock had a really bad time when he came to the Leafs. And
he did.
And, I understand that, but I think everybody on the Leafs had a bad time that year. That was the year that we traded Reimer and Polak to San Jose, and Alex Stalock comes back along with Raffi Torres, who never played, and I believe, wasn't it Eric Brewer too? Or is that a different trade?
No, Brewer, I think, was Jokinen.
Right.
Holy crap. Remember when Olli Jokinen was a Leaf?
Remember when Eric Brewer was a Leaf?
That feels like another feels like a
dimension.
movie I watched.
Yeah.
Like, that didn't actually happen.
And so, Alex Stalock, I remember actually going to one of the Marlies games we went to. Alex Stalock was playing. And he could not find his game, and he's traded off of a team that ends up going to the Stanley Cup Finals. That sucks.
Well, he was in the minors, was he not? He
was
wasn't
in the
on
AHL.
team.
So here's what happened. So I'll give a little context, because this is actually around when I was like going to Marlies practices and like going to every game and stuff for the playoff run. So the Marlies, between them already having too many players, the Leafs being eliminated and sending people down, the Leafs acquiring guys, Leaf draft picks from their junior teams being sent to the Marlies. Between all of that, the Marlies could have run 2.5 full practices. It was a joke. There was this one time I was like waiting around like long after Marlies practice ended, and I see this kid walk by, and I'm, wondering where his parents are, and I quickly realized, oh, that's Jeremy Bracco. And Bracco was practicing with like the 2.5 practice squad.
Jeremy Bracco? Really?
Yeah, because he would have been one of the junior guys who got sent to the AHL after the junior season was done.
He was drafted at that point?
Yeah, I think he was a 2015 pick, I think.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah. So here's a tweet of mine from 2016, April 16th. Sheldon Keefe gave some more details for the decision to have Alex Stalock leave the Marlies, often forgotten aspect. So this is what Keefe said. He's a guy with a young family. His wife and child living in a hotel here, and all for him to be essentially the third or fourth goaltender. There was a conversation with he and the organization. It was in his best interest to just kind of get on with things and bring his family back home. So basically, they knew they weren't going to use him. They had way too many players as it was. And he was essentially Raffi Torres. Like, sort of. It wasn't exactly a cap dump, but it was basically okay, we're getting James Reimer, but you got to take this guy who we're not going to use. So, I don't know, the Leafs or Marlies or whatever at least had the sense to be like, just go home.
Yeah.
They're going through some stuff. He's got a young family here. They're in a hotel. We're not going to use them. Go home. I think they did the right thing knowing that information, but I don't know. Stalock seems so fired up to play the Leafs that I don't know. Maybe there's more to the story.
Is he fired up, or are people in the media making a big deal about
Well,
him?
there are the quotes. The quotes are that he was upset with the way the organization, didn't give him a shot. But quite honestly, at the time,
really. But
at the time, did they owe anybody a shot? They didn't owe him that.
Yeah.
They don't owe anybody that. They owe whoever is going to help them win a shot. And the reason he was traded from the Sharks as the backup goaltender behind Martin Jones was because he couldn't find his game. And he says that. So,
it's funny. He's actually had a decent career.
Yeah,
like in parts, but boy, did he stink.
He stunk.
Why does a last place team need to give a 28-year-old backup goalie a shot?
I think that's exactly what the Leafs thought.
Yeah.
But when you are the 28-year-old, you go, come on, give me my shot, right? You haven't even given me a shot.
Okay.
And that would be why, I would think. But I agree with you. I would have done exactly what the Leafs did.
Played 3 games with the Marlies and had a .907 save percentage. But the Marlies goalies at the time, holy mackerel, look at all the goalies who played that year. So, Ryan Massa, Jonathan Bernier, that was that year. Rob Medora, Casimir Kaskisuo, Alex Stalock, Ray Emery, Antoine Bibeau. Did I say Garrett Sparks? Garrett Sparks is in there. So, the Marlies had Sparks, who had just played in the NHL. They had Antoine Bibeau, who was their starter. They had Casimir Kaskisuo, who they just signed. And then Alex Stalock arrives. There was just no space for him.
Yeah.
I'm amazed he even played 3 games. So hey, he's a competitor. I'm glad he has this outlook on it. Oh, they didn't give me a shot. Maybe he looks at it like, this team blows. I should be able to make this team. See, the Leafs stunk. The Marlies were the 3rd best regular season team of all time.
Good point. Yep. Good point. And they might be the best. They might be the best all time this year. We'll see.
We'll see as they take on the first place Manitoba Moose
this Sunday at Ricoh Coliseum. Now, a couple things I just want to quickly mention on the Leafs. Can I just say that I am legitimately concerned about the way they're playing right now?
Yeah.
They're getting outshot to hell. They're not. Their possession numbers aren't good. And I talked to Andrew Berkshire about it today. And I said, listen, is there just smoke here, or is there actual fire?
I like how you and I have the same strategy of...
Defer to the guy who knows numbers.
Let's go to Berkshire.
He said, well, it's not good. But since November 1st, they've still outchanced their competition 100-82 in high danger chances, which is still 55%. So he said, so Corsi in this regard isn't fully representative of how they played. However, through the first month, they were at 70%, so they're clearly not playing as well as they were. The change,
wow, I mean, was that sustainable?
Probably not.
70%, that's insane.
Now, he said they've been dumping the puck more often, much more forechecking and backchecking instead of keeping the puck and making plays. Probably why Nylander is being demoted. Fewer chances. I asked him about that, and I said, because they were having, especially the Bozak, Marner, JVR line.
Bozak, Marner line.
They were having issues in the neutral zone entering the offensive zone. That line was dead to rights, right?
Maybe been the least best line over the last 5 games.
Bingo. So Andrew said, I said, so what's the benefit to changing to that? And he said, fewer chances against off the rush due to failed entries, right? The fewer turnovers, the fewer chances that they're going to come at you. He said, so what they're doing is they're cutting down the quality of chances at both ends. And he said the biggest impact is the quantity of quality chances for themselves. And he said, it's interesting. I don't think that they're going to, he said, I don't think they're going to continue with this.
No.
But it seems like it's something they've done to sort of get back to basics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the really interesting thing, and why I'm worried. I am worried.
Me too.
But like with the Carlisle era Leafs, it was this overwhelming feeling of dread and inevitable collapse. Mm-hmm. But with the Leafs, I feel like it's a switch. They're choosing to play this way, which is super confusing. But it's like we said, they're building a contender and developing on the fly.
They still have young players to develop.
Yeah, and
like it just to say that even Matthews is a complete NHL player, but is he a complete NHL superstar quite yet? I think Austin Matthews would be like, I still got room to grow.
Yeah. Dominic Leschyshyn of The Athletic wrote this thing today.
Dom with his percentages.
Oh, Dom.
Everybody gets mad at him every day for him saying, here's
It's
who's going to win
literally an
tonight.
algorithm. Like, it's not Dom going.
Dom hates your team, and he hates your city, and he hates you. So just, get used to that.
Yeah, he's from the GTA, and he has an irrational hatred of the Dallas Stars for no reason. No reason. Other than he hates your team, naturally.
Hates Dallas, actually.
Hates Texas, hates America.
Hates America.
Hates apple pie.
Agreed.
Hates it. Loves Lord, though. He's a big fan, and I agree with him there on Lord.
Sorry, you were going to say before I interrupted.
I don't remember. He was talking about how Leafs' time on ice has changed over the past little while or so. And, like, Nylander is one of the most glaring guys out there. Like, they're basically... I wonder how much of the Leafs' struggles in terms of their chances and their shots for and against is them just basically, Silence of the Lambs strapping Nylander to a gurney, and just one day they're just going to unleash him.
I wondered that too. And I look at
I can't wait until like the day in February where Babcock goes, all right, and no, the Leafs are here, and just lets them show up.
Well, and it goes against your, and Andrew says this. He said, listen, I give them credit because I know they're legitimately smart. He's like, I give the Leafs the benefit of the doubt here that they're trying to implement some sort of mentality.
Yeah. Babcock hates the way they're playing.
Oh yeah,
you can hear it in his scrums.
But he's doing it for a reason. I don't know what that reason would be, but I guess it's a basics thing. But you look at Mitch Marner, who's got 2 goals this year. I can't imagine that that's going to last.
It's funny. You know what we forget is Matthews went on a goalless streak of, what was it last
10
year?
games.
And then he had another one. There was when he scored against the Blackhawks in those cool St. Pat's jerseys, that snapped like a 7-game goalless streak or something like that for him. So Nylander going through a cold snap, Marner going through a cold snap. Matthews was pretty cold before he got hurt. It's not totally out of the ordinary. I'm excited to see where they end up.
What's great is Mitch Marner only getting 2 goals isn't a problem, isn't a story. Can you imagine that?
Still fourth? He's like 1 point behind JVR or something
But imagine that. That's a guy that had, 60 points last year? He's got 2 goals through the first 2 months?
61 or something? And the Leafs are tied for 5th in the league.
But think about that. That's not a story.
No, I disagree. I'd say it's a story.
Dude.
It's talked about all the time on the broadcast.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. But, well...
He's got a lot of assists.
I don't understand. I don't know. I just don't... They're a very confusing team, but it's... I wonder if it's just a bigger version of, what we talked about with a couple of years ago, they put Nas through the ringer. And then last year they put Riley through the ringer.
And now they're putting Zaitsev.
They're putting Zaitsev through the ringer. And Brown as of late has really struggled because Babcock is just... He's like taking the captain of the high school swim team and throwing him into the Olympics. Like putting him on the first line, giving him all the toughest assignments. I think I remember from Dom's chart, his minutes have skyrocketed, and I believe a lot of his numbers have tanked. He's got a couple goals for his trouble, but they're really putting Brown out there against the big boys. I wonder if it's just he's testing the team, just testing their mettle.
And developing the team.
A lot of things went their way last year, and a lot of things went their way at the beginning of this year. So, but I mean, to make it through 4 rounds of playoff hockey, you basically need to turn yourself into a monster, a cold-hearted monster. The things players do to each other by rounds 3 and 4, you're like, you should be in prison.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe he's just trying to beat that into them before another team does it for them. I don't know.
I can see that.
Confusing.
I think sometimes there was a LeBron quote that I used to remember it. I can't, of course, remember because I have a terrible memory. But what LeBron basically said was, every time I feel like my game's going off a little bit, I go back to doing basics, layups, shots from the line, just basic. And I think Michael Jordan said the same thing. Sometimes you just need to get back to the basics. And dump and chase is a pretty basic way to play hockey. I wonder if Babcock looked at the the offensive zone entries, which were a problem at the beginning of the season, despite the fact that they were scoring off the charts, and said, okay, well, we're going to work our way back up to that.
Well, let's throw all numbers out the window. We knew full and well at the beginning of the season the way they were playing was unsustainable.
Yes.
They weren't going to win playoff games 8-5. They coughed up a 5-1 lead in the second game of the season. We knew this wasn't going to last. It's how far into a season. It's funny. There's still like 50 games. No, there's still exactly 50 games left at the time that we're making this podcast. I was about to say, how far into a season do you decide to play the way you're going to play for the rest of it?
I think in the next 10 to 15 games, you start to see it materialize. But I also think
it constantly changes. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think you want to be at optimum probably with 30 games left. And also, remember, they're only 3 points behind, or at least they were only 3 points behind Tampa Bay. I'm not sure if I'm sure Tampa won because Tampa doesn't lose. But, they're not that
Go
far
Tampa.
out.
We are cheering for Tampa.
They are 5 points off. The Leafs have 41 points.
Wow.
41 points, and we're not even through December yet.
2 years ago, they finished with 69, which might sound nice to you.
It is.
But it wasn't nice to watch.
They could hit 50 points by Christmas. Tampa Bay will hit 50 points by Christmas.
Yeah, they could.
That's huge.
I'd say it'd be a disappointment if they don't hit 50 by 2018.
There you go.
The Leafs?
Yeah.
You'd have to win
how many games they got left?
4 games. Well,
Just win 5 games.
Out of? 8 or 9?
I don't have the schedule in front of me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be hard.
Yeah, it's a little
Hit
bit
45
Yeah.
yeah, they can do that.
at very least.
They can do that. Now,
47. Do it for Leo.
I'm not sure if you saw this. We talked a little bit about Eric Francis's write-up in the Calgary Sun about what would happen, the doom and gloom that would occur if the Flames don't get a new arena, and if the arrogant Mayor Nenshi doesn't get off his arrogant high horse of not wanting to spend public money on a private organization that really isn't asking to bring any more money into the city that's already, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, you know where I'm going with this, right?
Yep.
So Kent Wilson from The Athletic, God bless him,
Oh, yeah, he's with the Athletic.
he went through the entire article and gave, here's why this point is wrong, here's why this point is wrong, here's why this point is wrong. It is a fascinating read because if you're like me, like you love the game, right? You love the X's and O's, but the business side of shit sometimes is really complicated. I mean, I think for even somebody in business, it's got to be complicated. So it's hard to understand a lot of this stuff. And he kind of goes through, and there's a few points I want to touch on, but he starts the article in the best way. It's an old quote from the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review.
That's the way I start all my best work.
From Mario Lemieux.
Oh?
Now, what is the current arena in Pittsburgh called, Steve?
I forget. Was it PNG or something? I forget.
I think it's PNG. Or let's look it up. I thought you would know because you saw him. Wow! That freaking arena.
That is something I would do.
I thought you would know that. PPG.
PPG?
PPG Paints Arena. It's changed.
That's right.
It's
That's
changed.
right.
It was something else.
I was going to call it the
PNC.
Igloo.
It was PNC Park is obviously the baseball park, and then
Maybe that's what I was
anyway. Anyway, who's going to guess PPG Paints? That must have just changed. Anyway,
I assumed you.
the original, when the original arena, when they broke ground on that because they needed a new arena and the team was half sold to Jim Balsillie who wanted to move it to Hamilton.
Yeah.
And Gary Bettman said, no, you can't really do that. You need governor approval.
I don't care what's on your phone.
Yeah. Now, at the groundbreaking ceremony last week, Lemieux told the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review that, quote, we, the owners, had to do a few things to put pressure on the city and the state, but our goal was to remain here in Pittsburgh all the way. Those trips to Kansas City and Vegas and other cities was just to go and have a nice dinner and come back. That is from the lips of Mario Lemieux.
To be a rich person must be the most fascinating thing. Imagine deciding to fly to Kansas for dinner out of spite and
Fun
then
fact.
coming home.
Kansas City is in Missouri,
Missouri.
not Kansas.
What did I say?
You said fly to Kansas.
Kansas City.
Kansas City is a place in
my
Missouri.
bad.
Yeah.
Kansas
dumb.
is a state.
Really?
America.
It's like Fort Saskatchewan, Alberta.
Baybaw.
What?
Yes.
Baybaw.
Baybaw. Well, they do have Baybaw.
Continue. Just to correct you.
Now, this is part of...
Thank you. No, I'm glad the Midwest didn't yell at me.
What I'm about to read to you is part of Eric Francis's article. Now, this goes back and forth between Kent Wilson's and Eric Francis's. You have to read the whole thing, but I'm just giving you some highlights. Eric Francis. With the absence of compliant local politicians in office and a skeptical public ever more jaded by the team's effort to garner a sizable public subsidy, the organization has been waiting for a new leverage point to emerge. In the well-worn sports franchise free arena playbook, that means finding a looming, credible relocation threat. Sorry, I got that wrong. That's actually Kent Wilson. Enter Houston. So they're looking for leverage points here, is basically what he's saying. Now, Eric Francis's recent article on the Flames' potential flight to Houston is a study in leverage seeking. This is interesting. It presents the relocation threat as not merely a credible, but inevitable threat and throws in a variety of common rhetorical flourishes for good measure. So, here's what Eric says. Fact is, we'll eventually reach a point in this dangerous game of chicken that the most logical solution may just be to sell. It certainly is the easiest. Now, Kent Wilson says, selling and moving the Flames would be far from easy. Calgary is a top 10 NHL market with a long history of grassroots support, a high concentration of corporate offices, and a large GDP. That's all true. The Flames have made it past the second round twice in the last 2 decades, but somehow currently sit 8th in average NHL attendance this year.
Wow.
It would require a vote from the NHL Board of Governors to move a team out of one of its strongest markets in the league, strongest markets in the league, in favor of somewhere relatively unknown, bracket, and instead of one of the many other franchises that are currently struggling. Now, they keep going. They go on to talk about Calgary is one of the youngest cities in North America, which it is. It's, even despite the downturn, one of the best places to live in North America and the world. Yep. Absolutely. Affordable.
I mean, we make fun of Alberta.
It's a great place to live.
It's kind of like Oshawa. Like, Oshawa is a very strange place because it's a mixture of very young and hipstery and like old and Canadian tuxedo-y.
Yeah.
And I think Alberta is very similar.
Yeah.
Remember that breakfast place we went to? Like,
You didn't believe me. You didn't believe me.
if you blindfolded me and dropped me in there and
Queen
then
West.
took it off, I would be like, oh, we're in Parkdale?
Yeah. Ossington.
There's people with white and black horizontally striped shirts and berets, people dressed like a mime.
Beards.
And having eggs Benedict.
Yeah.
Salmon.
But then you walk down the street and you're like, oh, this place needs some renovation.
Jesse, would you like me to take you to the local kick and stab next time?
I would not like to go
What
there.
is that called? It's
the tartan?
Secrets or
Oh, no, the tartan's not the kick and stab.
No.
Secrets.
No, what's the one on-
Chasers? No, not Chasers.
Not
That's in
Chasers.
Curtis. I think it's called Bad Decisions.
or Rumors or something.
Rumors, I think it might be. I haven't been to Rumors.
All these names sound like awful places.
Yeah,
Whatever name of those was right, it describes the bar perfectly.
Any one of them
would
could've been
work.
right,
Yeah.
My dad's metal band, yes, my dad is a drummer for a metal band, played at a bar in Oshawa, and I was like, I would never come here if my dad hadn't told me to. Drinking my draft beer, I'm like, I'm fairly certain this is at least 25% antifreeze.
So is Calgary like that?
Oh, Calgary is Calgary's very modern. There isn't a lot of history there because you have to remember, turn of the century, there was 5,000 people there last century. So
The center of the country is full of places where I'm like, how are there populations?
yeah. Well,
One of my favorite things is the general Los Angeles population is around 32 million.
That's insane.
Canada's 33.
but in
No, it's more than that.
right now,
36 now.
36.
36.
We're growing
All right.
slowly.
But still.
We're Los Angeles.
Good
That's
part of
one
California
city.
is
I know.
several cities, but are one city.
Count like one suburb next to Los Angeles, and that's the entirety of Canada, the second largest land mass country on Earth.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, and that's so Calgary was. I remember reading a story about it when I was there. There's a fort that they still have that's there. That's like a mirror of an image of the old original wooden fort. And
The people who built it are still there guarding it.
And at one
on
point,
a horse.
it was so wild and crazy out there because it was the Wild West that an American flag used to fly out of it, even though it was Canadian territory. The Americans are like, "Cause we can, because they're American." Now, The thing with Calgary is it's young, it's rich. Even with the downturn, it's rich. There's huge corporate dollars there. That's one of the major problems in Ottawa is there isn't a lot of corporate money. It's all government.
It's a lot of new money.
New money. But that's the thing. That's high GDP. You're talking about corporate head offices for a ton of oil companies right there.
And that's what I was told killed the Hartford Whalers. Passionate fan base, but they didn't really have the corporate infrastructure.
And you need that.
They didn't have the companies buying season seats.
That's
And
why
advertising.
Winnipeg's success is so shocking.
Well, they got an owner that's first off, they got revenue sharing in the NHL now, which is good. And they got
Tickets
an owner.
are expensive.
They've got an owner that is, I believe, are they not MTS? Are they not the cell phone provider?
True North.
It's true, but are they not? Is True North not owned by MTS?
Oh, I have no idea.
The MTS Center is.
I think it might be the other way around.
Manitoba Television.
I think it might be True
Or
North
television,
owns
telephone.
that.
Oh, okay. Well,
But
whatever.
they have a supportive
They have an
ownership.
obnoxious amount of money.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
But the dollars coming in from a corporate side can't be a lot at all.
I don't think it is.
No.
I think it's one of those.
Winnipeg's big. Winnipeg's like close to the size of Boston.
But not in terms of companies
Not
who operate
money-wise.
out of
I don't
Winnipeg.
know. Yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah, I think Jesse's right in that sense. Like, I wouldn't call, and this is no offense to the city of Winnipeg. There's, obviously some huge successes there, but I wouldn't say that it's one of the, like, it's not a financial hub like Calgary, like Boston, like Vancouver. So for what's hilarious
Sunrise.
hilarious about this situation is literally every point of this Calgary debate points to they're never moving this team. They've already won a cup there.
No.
The fan support is enormous. Flames fans are nuts. You guys remember the Red Mile?
Oh,
Like, it's insane.
who was not cheering for the Flames?
That year. Oh my God, it was the best.
I was.
And
I was cheering for him. I wanted Iggy to win.
even being out there, it was,
I want a Kippersoft to win.
he was that team, man.
Yeah.
Kipper was that team.
When Iginla scored without a helmet or whatever, like that's not even my team. I remember all those moments.
So to say that this, like, what I wanted to really ask in reading this, and I encourage you to read the Kent Wilson piece because I'm not doing it any justice, and it's very hard to do that on a podcast. You got to read the article. But Eric Francis's article was very inflammatory. This is going to happen. Fire and brimstone, and the seven horsemen are coming back. Like it's all. Tell me why you'd write an article like that when there is so many factual inaccuracies. And when you read his article, you're gonna read Eric Francis's and then read Kent Wilson's. There are a lot of basic inaccuracies that you go, oh yeah, well you're right, yeah. And
I don't know enough. I
just
don't
don't
know. You read it, I haven't.
I just don't understand why Eric Francis would write that article because he covers the team.
Well, there's theories out there.
What's
Has
the
he
theory?
said anything in response to the article?
Eric Francis to Kent Wilson's?
No, to just the public.
That's a good question. I
I don't
haven't.
think he cares.
No?
I mean,
He hasn't tweeted out anything in support of his article because it's a strange thing to write when there's actually no factual proof that they're moving and everybody says they're not moving.
That's the thing. So it's not just people on the ground. It's not just Kent Wilson, who I think is a writer in Calgary, but like some of the smartest, least outspoken insiders in the industry. Like, not only say the Flames are not moving, they scoff at the idea and they're sick of it.
Well, and it's also interesting. So I just looked up Eric Francis' Twitter account, and I'd love to have him on to address this. But he also wrote a similar article for the Calgary Herald,
Okay.
which is another newspaper,
He works hard for the money.
and he writes for Sportsnet as well. I just don't understand where this is coming from. Francis, Bettman and Nenshi give Flames owners good reason to sell the team.
So I just want to ask him the question as to why he's writing these things
I'm
when
trying to
there's
figure that out. What's
no basis there. What's his motive behind it?
because it's there, and these are
Also, how many times is he going to write this?
He covered the team.
well, it's big clicks, man. It's these assertions though, and that's what the business is based on. It's advertising revenue, it's clicks. But these assertions that he's making are not necessarily inaccurate, but they're implausible. They're things that probably won't happen. And some of the things are straight up inaccurate. You can't just sell the team, or you can't just move the team. And you're not going to get $650 million from Houston for the team. The NHL doesn't want you, Murray Edwards, the owner of the Flames, to get $650 from Houston. They want $650 to go to the NHL so that Houston can expand into the NHL. That's how that's where the money comes from.
The main premise is Calgary is going to move to Houston. That literally is against the rules.
Yes.
It can't happen. So why would he write a thing that says Calgary is going to move to Houston?
Well, and also they can't just be sold, because wasn't the exciting thing for Hurricanes fans, the recent sale of their team, isn't the rule that once a team is sold, whoever buys them agrees
7 years.
To keep the team there for 7 years. So I mean, Flames fans should be like, all right, sell them.
They have to be here for 7 years.
They got to be there for 7
and
years.
we'll figure out an arena in that time.
Yeah,
So
and you'll make a shitload of money because it's Calgary.
Yeah. So
wonder if
I'm
it's
just
gonna be
asking a
I
question.
pulled up the article. So
There's got to be some like oil baron local who's going to be like, you know what? I just like the Flames. Here you go.
While profitable, this is according to
New
Eric
arena. I'm going to put my face on the roof.
While profitable, the Flames lose ground on all 30 NHL rivals. Every day they stay in the 34-year-old Stalock, where the team has maxed out the revenue it can generate. The team can't possibly continue to play there long term. And Kent Wilson's rebuttal to this is, I doubt the Flames will be losing any ground on the likes of the Arizona Coyotes from a profitability perspective anytime soon. In the hierarchy of sports teams' business plans, the health of a market far outweighs the finances of the arena. True.
Yeah.
The mayor needs to find a way back. This is Eric Francis again. The mayor needs to find a way to be the bigger man by coming up with a new way to get the Flames back to the negotiating table to build something the city will eventually have to build, with or without the Flames in town.
Man, this isn't about like his politeness and gestures.
Well, then he
This is
follows it
about
up with
hundreds of millions of dollars.
He follows it up with his ego won't likely allow that. Now, Kent Wilson
stop.
says, first, let's establish that there's almost the entirety of the city council rejected the Flames' various overtures over the years, not just Mayor Nenshi. Next, the city has been open to negotiation for months since the last tete-a-tete with the CSEC, but it was Ken King and ownership who walked away. So,
Who endorsed the other mayoral candidate in the recent election?
finally, whatever one might think of the mayor's personal style, and this is Kent Wilson, it's good that he has enough backbone to stand up to these sorts of demands. As noted previously, the last thing you want as a taxpayer are politicians who are intimidated or cozy up with the powerful people who are looking to belly up to the trough. Ask people in Atlanta how they feel about their new baseball stadium in the middle of freaking nowhere. What?
Steve sent a tweet that says, hi.
Whoa, wait. No, back up.
Steve sent a tweet that said,
Jesse typed a tweet that I clicked send on.
hi, Eric Francis. Would you like to come on the Steve Dangle podcast?
I'd love to have him on.
Please DM Adam Wild if you are interested.
DM me.
Wait,
Yeah, 'cause
why'd you
your
put it
DM
on him? Oh, I didn't
Your
even get
DMs
to...
are open.
Oh, you put my
Steve, yours
DM.
aren't
Why are you putting that on me?
He's the only one who he can reach
You know
out
what?
to.
Adam,
You couldn't reach out through Sportsnet?
as someone who brings up the fact that you used to live in Calgary every 20 minutes, I feel it only fair that you be the Calgary ambassador on this project.
I'd love to have him answer for this.
Shoot,
because-
we're supposed to have Craig Huston.
Yeah, we have Craig on too. What's the
He's like our Ben Affleck or whatever.
Matt Damon.
Yeah,
Sorry, Craig, there wasn't room for you.
apologies to Craig Huston.
Yeah. Who, by the way,
ran out of time.
Craig is like one of the most well-respected writers in this sport, and we keep going. Oh, we got to.
I got an email today. He's like, "So are we doing this?"
We
And I
are
went,
doing
"Ooh."
this.
Oh, no, we're
Can we
not.
do that next week, please? Can we do that Tuesday?
And I had to tell one of the most
After Francis.
respected writers.
I'd love to
my
have them
dog
both on.
has the shits.
Let's have them both on.
Yeah.
Can you
And
monitor-
Mark Spector.
Can you monitor?
I won't even show up.
Can you monitor your direct
I
messages?
will monitor my direct messages. I just don't want to get in trouble with Sportsnet PR about not going through them, because normally that's what you have to do, because he's a writer for Sportsnet.
No, I'm sure it'll be
Okay.
fine. I haven't gone through them for anyone except Ron McClain.
Maybe don't say
so-
that on the podcast.
Fine.
So anyway, I just find it funny that, like, where is this coming from? So that'll be the question I have for Eric is, if what you're saying is implausible, why are you making it seem so plausible? Is there something I'm missing here? That'll be the question.
Has Mayor Nenshi ever wronged you?
Well, it's very clearly he doesn't like Mayor Nenshi. And you don't have to like the politician in charge. But also, the Flames shouldn't get a free arena. And I don't think anybody in that town, they don't love paying taxes in Alberta. And they don't pay a lot of it as a result. So why would they fund an insanely expensive arena with a billionaire owner?
Yeah, I paid my taxes today, and I was not smiling.
No, I don't
anyone
only pay my damn
enjoys it.
taxes.
I understand it. That doesn't mean I like it.
I don't
of
think
course not.
I just understand it.
I don't think any professional sports team who's a private organization that makes billions of dollars, should get an arena funded by taxpayers.
I 1,000%
in any
agree.
place in North America. It doesn't make sense.
1,000% agree.
Is there an argument, and I feel like we've had this discussion before, where you could argue, well, it does bring X, Y, Z to the city.
It does.
And whatever, and you should spend some money.
Edmonton was
Well,
taxed.
wasn't
Part of
Edmonton
it
entirely?
Yeah, because they revitalized the whole downtown core, but I still...
See, what about like half or like
Yeah.
a quarter?
It
So if you've
doesn't
got a
make
healthy
sense to
downtown
me.
core, there's absolutely no reason why you need to do it. Edmonton needed to do it, and Daryl Cates held him over the coals about it because
Yeah.
remember, he was going to move the team. When I was out there, oh no, the Edmonton Oilers might move.
Going to
effing
Seattle.
right.
Going to Seattle. What was it? Football game or soccer games?
Yeah, that was great. That was great. And it was great, and it's horrible, but it was great theater to watch because you kind of go, okay, Daryl, we know. But and you know what? It did kickstart something good in Edmonton. It really did. It had a good effect. Edmonton's downtown sort of needed it. And they did it, and the arena's beautiful, apparently.
And usually in those cases, there's some instance where the city gets half of parking revenue or
Right.
something over a 20-year period, and then they finally get paid back all that money.
It's a
Yeah.
complex deal. It's not a you pay for everything, which
Yeah.
was the rumor here.
Yeah.
I think the problem here is that Calgary is a very successful city. Downtown
In
may
all
not
kinds of
be
ways.
like the actual downtown core might be very corporate. There's a couple streets that are really on fire and awesome. It's not like Toronto in the same way that there's something going on downtown in every section all the time. But if
There's
you
boroughs.
yeah, there's boroughs and there's there's several places where Calgary it doesn't need a downtown revival. Private enterprise is taking care of that. When I lived in Calgary, in Victoria Park,
Did you
which
live
was-
in Calgary?
which is the roughest, which is one of the rougher areas, which was like a crummy, shitty area, which was outside Stampede Park.
I wasn't going to say it.
They were revitalizing. So these developers had come in, bought up all the old, bad, nasty houses along the riverbank, and said, "Okay, we're putting condos up, and it's
They
beautiful now."
soap at it.
Absolutely, they did. But that's what happens.
Come get an Airbnb.
Can you imagine?
Go to the Calgary Stampede.
But imagine a condo developer saying, "Guys, I'm going to revitalize your city with these great condos, but the city has to pay into that."
Get a condo by historic Adam Wild's old house.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I just find this. I hate. I mean, I
I hate
really
these discussions.
I hate these discussions, and I hate when cities have to foot the bill for private enterprise. I don't care that it's a city, but
I hate when rich people
I mean, look
pull out
at
their metaphorical.
BMO. Look at the
thing.
BMO field. It's a public-private partnership. That soccer stadium, football stadium.
Footy.
But when MLSE wanted to put, was it 10,000 more seats in because it was 26,000 originally, now it's 36 or something.
Yep.
They paid for it. They didn't even go to the city. They're like, okay, let's write the check. Let's go.
And what's weird is they're losing so much money.
Oh, MLSE.
TFC is just printing money.
Yeah, you can't buy season seats to the Leafs, to the Raptors, or TFC anymore. Gone, sold out, gone. Forget it. Crazy.
Poor Argos.
Well, they MLSE just bought them too.
I think that's a great thing
For
for
a
the
dollar.
Argos that they got bought by MLSE.
Yeah, but the Argos couldn't sell out a game to help themselves.
No, but I'm excited to see what MLSE does
I have
with
a
it.
feeling that MLSE
Because they are super obsessed
They've
with winning
been trying.
Yeah.
these days.
Well, here's the thing. I think MLSE really has this adversity to not making money off everything they do. And it might take a couple of years, but I guarantee you, or not guarantee you, but I would think that the Argos, they wouldn't have bought the Argos without a plan, a 5-year plan. And they wouldn't have bought the Argos if they were not confident that they could turn them into a viable tool in this market.
For playoff games, like people who worked for the team, before they would even say hello to me, they would just point at the seats, the empty seats, because it was hours before game time, and they'd just be like, sold out. Sold out tonight. Like, it means a lot to them. It means a lot to them. And it's hard for a team that's not an NHL team. Hey, remember the playoff game you came to in Oshawa? The Generals game? Mm-hmm. The Generals packed that place. Or Generals fans packed that place usually. But I think it was season seats didn't go into the playoffs or something. So you guys went to a playoff game in like a half full arena. Mm-hmm. Like, it's hard. The Marlies, they sold the crap out of that. Mm-hmm. It's hard.
All I'm saying is, in Toronto, we had to give away tickets to the championship game with a large pizza and a pop. And
Grey Cup.
you'd sit in the 200s at BMO if you just bought a slice of pizza.
Where you could to see the Rough Riders take on the Rough Riders.
All I know is 5 or 6 years ago, my father-in-law, who paid, I think it was like less than $500 for season seats for TFC, they raised the ticket prices, but because TFC had done so poorly the year before, he emailed someone at TFC back and basically said, go F yourself with this bullcrap. I don't want to renew if you're going to raise the prices. And so they gave him his tickets at the last season's price.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, you know why? Because TFC needed the people and sucked. And within a few years, they no longer needed the people and no longer sucked. Back-to-back finals appearances, they won. Never know.
I'm just excited for this Grey Cup winning team to not sell out a game again.
No, I think
that's what happened.
Well, now they'll have the marketing dollars.
They can't be better, though. The team literally is the champion.
It's not about that, though.
It isn't.
Like, it's not about that. Like, the Raptors got good. But I think the reason they're doing so well in the city is they tried really hard to ingrain them in the city and make them cool. They tried really hard to make them cool.
What do you think about the Argos?
No, the Argos have never been that, so maybe MLSC will do
They
that.
were. They were that. 60s, 70s, 80s they were.
Doug Flutie.
Yeah.
When you think Argos, who's the player you think of?
Doug Flutie. Pinball Clements.
Right. When did those guys retire? When did Doug Flutie go to the NFL? 98? Right. That's the problem. They've never had that guy that captured the city's imagination since Doug Flutie left and Pinball retired. And when Pinball was the coach, they sort of had it. But the problem is, I think, with the Argos, they need superstars again. And, you know, you've got guys on TFC that are superstars.
CFL.
But there are CFL superstars, and you gotta raise excitement again. I mean, Andre Drummond was another guy, superstar.
Anthony Calvillo.
So you can do it. It's just a matter of scale it, right? What's the scale? Are they going to be Austin Matthews? No, they're not going to be Austin Matthews, but they still could be a big deal, and they still could grab the imagination. They still could be a personality in the city.
It's like on the world scale. Who the hell is Josie Altidore? Like, really?
Oh, he's an American national team player, and so is Michael Bradley.
Yeah, and where are they?
Well,
not in the World Cup.
If you had said
Trinidad,
Mitch Marner would have been a much better example.
Really?
Yeah.
No, but I'm trying to say,
because
like,
that's soccer. Soccer is international.
Yeah, but like, do you think people in like Spain right now are having impassioned conversations about, did you see that goal from Josie Altidore?
I think more people in Europe know Jose Altidore than they know Mitch Marner.
I think you'd be surprised.
Well, of course, but hockey's so teeny
So
tiny.
I'm saying your example should have been Mitch Marner.
No, no.
He's huge.
No. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Maybe I didn't make this clear enough. I'm talking about the tiers of league. Like, the NHL is the biggest you can get in hockey, and if you don't know that, well, you're just not that big of a hockey fan. I'm talking about, you know, the NFL is clearly several steps up from the CFL.
Yeah.
In the same way that, like, a lot of those European soccer leagues are several steps up from MLS.
Okay.
And, like, Josie Altidore was over in Europe, couldn't really do much. Comes to MLS, he's a star.
Sure.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So, like, to be a CFL superstar, like, who is the CFL Josie Altidore? Or
somebody from
Sebastian
the NFL
Giovinco,
who came over to the CFL? Like, I still don't get your
something
example.
like that. I'm trying to say, like,
Ricky Williams
who's
coming here?
I mean, maybe. No, but that was like sort of a player who like fell from grace. I'm talking about who is a player, like, are we going to enter? No, we couldn't possibly. I was going to say, are we going to enter an era where the CFL could steal someone from the NFL? But it'll never happen.
No, it's a different game.
So that's interesting. How the hell does it happen then? That's why I'm so scrambly right now. I'm trying to figure out how they would do that.
You develop a personality or several.
Pinball.
Yeah, but not pinball, because pinball's been there and done that, and everybody's seen pinball carted out time and time again. Yeah, and no offense to pinball.
You don't bring him back.
Yeah,
for 53 years old.
Here's pinball promoting the freaking Argos again.
Our player coach.
Hey everyone, this is Pinball Clements. Yes.
Could pinball run for mayor tomorrow and win?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably.
Yes.
He's that popular.
I think so.
Despite Putin's comments, the KHL is still undecided as to whether to go to the Olympics or not. So that's interesting. Because Putin's comments were, athletes from Russia should go. They train their whole lives.
Can we put bets down now? I say the KHL announces what they're going to do 2 weeks after the Olympics start. That's just what they do, man.
And if you're looking for a great tire fire in sports, I'm just skimming these. The Marlins.
My conversation about soccer compared to football just now.
The Marlins rebuilding. You want to talk about stripping it down for nada. Holy crap.
At what point do we get concerned that a Yankees legend bought a baseball team and his first move was a catastrophic ripoff with his former team? Does that sound like shenanigans?
Well, Jesse and I were talking about it the other day, and Jesse, I think, nailed it. And he said he should just be retired, man. Like, just be retired. Just be Derek Jeter and enjoy your gazillions of dollars. He signed, what did he sign? A 10-year, $189 million contract like 10 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
You've made $250, $300 million. What are you doing?
How many people successfully retire rich before 45?
Oh.
Just
do nothing.
He's got a wife, a young wife, and a young child. Like, you're a Hall of Fame baseball player. Go and give speeches and hang out in Florida with your kid on a boat and just make sure your kid grows up right and just let it go.
Why did Gretzky ever try coaching? Like, why is Kevin Lowe doing what Kevin Lowe's doing?
It's different signing.
If you won all those cups and it was such a big deal, why are you still doing stuff?
Why are you buying
His
teams?
4% ownership of the Marlins means he's putting up, I think it's $45 million of his own money
a year
into this organization.
Or just overall?
That's 4% of the team. $45 million.
Wowzers. So who's the GM?
Derek
Why are people
Jeter.
talking about it? No.
Well, he's had a lot to do with the. He's supposed
like
to be the
president.
baseball mind.
Yeah, he's president right now. And then I don't know the name. I forget the name of the guy who owns the other 96% of the team. But he's like, hey, go run this team, Derek Jeter.
Okay,
here's what's great.
That's Baybaw.
And here's what's great.
That's Baybaw.
They're looking for investors. So they bought the team. They're stripping it of its best players. They got rid of Starlin Castro, D. Gordon, and freaking the best home run hitter probably ever. He'll probably break the record next year.
No.
You don't think so?
Barry Bonds is the greatest home run hitter ever.
Okay, non-steroid.
But he only took
Willie
steroids.
Mays.
He would still be great if he didn't take steroids, just not as good. He's probably the best ever.
Okay, fair enough. Giancarlo Stanton is one of the best ever. Probably top 10, right?
I'm not going to answer that question because it's stupid.
One of the best quotes ever. I'm angry because I'm on steroids and you're stupid.
Imagine being on steroids and losing Game 7 of the World Series. How pissed you would be.
My testicles shrunk for this? Allegedly.
Also, it's 8:04, so Leafs games.
Oh, yeah.
Shoot.
So, no, I'm just throwing this out there. It just is hilarious because why would you buy a team and then look for investors? Now you're fucked.
The first,
you have no
why would
leverage.
you buy a team and then try and lose?
Yeah.
You're selling off assets so you could be terrible.
Oh, no,
And
maybe
you have
no one will go to
Giancarlo
Marlins
Stanton.
games now. Come on.
I don't get it.
The first thing I thought of when you said investors was prestige worldwide. Wide. From Step Brothers.
Oh.
I just watched it the other day. Investors? Possibly you. Last week we put liquid paper on a bee. And it died. Sorry. I think that's Derek Jeter right now. He put liquid paper on a bee. And it's dying.
Sort of. Who's going to go to those games next year? That brand new stadium, which is beautiful.
The fan that went there all last year, they'll go back.
Who's the Rays fan who used to always yell? He yelled at that Jays rookie who got
Eric
bad.
Hinsky?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the name of the fan. But yeah, there was a fan in Tampa who would heckle Eric Hinsky. And then Eric Hinsky eventually became a
Ray.
Tampa Bay Ray, and they went to the finals, and they're best buddies.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That was
kind of funny.
Yeah.
That was the closest Toronto ever came to their own Steve Sullivan moment when Steve Sullivan got hit with the puck and then the fan who was heckling him got hit with the puck.
Yeah.
So Hinsky goes up to bat and this guy's going nuts, screaming at him. You can hear him on the mic. Yeah, he goes, if I hit this home run, you have to shut up. The guy goes, okay. Hits a home run. He goes, all right, you got to show up. He's like, no, if you hit this one, then I'll shut up.
Yeah.
And then he hit that one.
That's amazing.
He went, all right, I'll shut up.
That's awesome. If also you want to hear an infuriating quote, the Toronto Blue Jays have said, I believe it was Mark Shapiro that said, if this were another market, we might have already started the rebuild, but the fans have finally just come back, so we can't let them down. They need to rebuild the team. And
You could have just shortened that by saying, you're all stupid.
no,
We think you're all stupid.
it's very clearly that Rogers doesn't want a losing team to sell.
Here's the quote from
Allegedly.
Alex Sixero. Had the quote from the Jeff Blair show on the Fan 590. Mark Shapiro, if we were running this team without a fan base, we probably would have started a rebuild a year ago. We're trying to remain competitive for those fans. Mark
The Leafs are down the street. You don't even need to put on a jacket to watch the ACC from Rogers Center.
But again, what did you say at the beginning of this episode?
What
What did you say about GMs and funny moves?
dumb. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember.
You don't know what their marching orders were. And I believe that the appetite may not be. If Mark Shapiro, who's a pretty smart baseball guy, if Mark Shapiro is saying we would have started this, but we don't want to do it for the fans, they're using the fans as the excuse for we can't and we're not allowed to.
Ooh, I'm going to try a transition right now. I'm going to try it. So, you know what he should have said instead if he did have different marching orders? Nothing. So, that brings me to John Tortorella.
Oh.
Very quickly.
Said nothing.
Yeah, he had a 14-second press conference after the Blue Jackets got blown out. I don't even remember by who. I don't even remember the score. But yeah, they got their asses kicked, and he goes, "You know what? I know you guys got a job to do, but I don't want to talk after a game like that." Blah 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 blah. And some people gave him shit for it, and I'm like, okay,
What's he going to say? We sucked.
they got destroyed. So if you're writing about the game, that's the story. Oh, here it is.
I'm not answering any questions tonight. There's no sense of me even trying to answer questions about this evening, okay? So, sorry about that. Have a good night. I'm not answering any questions tonight. There's no sense of me even trying to answer questions about this evening, okay? So, sorry about that. Have a good night.
Okay.
So the story is they got destroyed. I say the story is they got destroyed, and that to go with that story is an excellent quote.
That's a great quote.
That's an excellent quote. And also, if you're John Tortorella, how many times have you gotten yourself into trouble?
Right.
Dude, you have your own top 10 on God knows how many channels. And what's amazing is that they cut it off at 10.
Yeah,
You could have so many more.
Well, and I
That's
wonder-
a veteran, that's a mature John Tortorella move. He could have stayed out there. No, a real mature thing to do would be to stay out there and answer the questions. Okay, maturity is knowing your own weaknesses, and he knows that he can't do that. So he got up there, said his thing for 14 seconds, left. I kind of commend him for that.
If the Jays are being
Jesse
sold,
disagrees.
now you hate this. You hate this.
Well, his team is a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the middle of December.
Yeah.
It's one game. Why can't he answer a couple questions?
That's probably why.
It is a little silly, but I look at it, it's a very simple story. They got their asses kicked. He gave an excellent quote, and then he probably went to bed that night, got up the next morning, and was interviewed again, and probably gave better answers. So, I mean, if you cover the team, isn't that what you want? No, what you really want is for John Tortorella to lose his temper.
At that press conference.
But he doesn't want to do
It's
that.
not his job to give you that. You got to earn it.
I think his job is to talk to the media, and he didn't do that.
A veteran reporter should have gone, "Why'd you stink tonight, John?" And that would have goaded him into maybe doing something, but they didn't do that.
Well, anyway, back to the Jays for a quick second. I think it's very interesting that they're not rebuilding. This is the time. Josh Donaldson is 32.
I believe when the season will
Early
start,
30s.
he'll be 32.
32, and on the last year of his deal, and is going to want a big fat contract after the
No,
season.
he's 32 right now, December 8th. So a couple days ago, he
So-
turned 32.
Like, listen, Josh Donaldson's great, but how long can Josh Donaldson sustain that? Maybe 4 more years? What, like, and then you give him an 8-year deal? Like, this is the problem. And Mark Shapiro saying that I thought was very telling. And John Tortorella not saying that I think was better. If Mark Shapiro had said nothing, it might have been better. And I've interviewed Mark Shapiro. He's not a phony, man. The guy's pretty honest.
Oh, no.
Maybe he's just really good at being a phony, and he fooled you.
He might have fooled me, but I sat
No,
in the
I'm
Jays
jo- I'm
dugout and
joking.
interviewed the guy
I'm
for a 5-minute segment. He was great.
I just figured something out.
What?
Oh, no.
I really hope we don't sell the
I
Jays.
won't be getting a flex back this summer.
Why?
Well, I just realized the Blue Jays are the Vancouver Canucks.
They might be.
Boy, that makes me sad.
But, you know,
they had a good run.
Listen.
They got real close.
They will be.
All right, see you in 20 years.
Here's what I would do.
Holy shit.
Rebuild now because the Yankees are going to just destroy the division.
Old. Like, yeah.
Just
Go
take 5 years.
Hibernate for 5 years.
Let the Yankees have it for a bit because they're the only time the Jays have made the playoffs in the last 20 years is when the Yankees have been bad.
Still love Bill Burr's rant about, oh, what a story. Just a bunch of knockaround guys. Hang in there, Pittsburgh. Hang in there.
Like
do you... If every year that the Yankees don't win, they should be embarrassed. Every year.
I think they are.
Yeah, when you lose, it's failure. If you don't win the World Series 2 years and then in the third year you win, that means you're -1. You stink. They should win every single year, bar none. I don't know how they don't.
By the way, Jeff Merrick and Elliot Friedman will be podcasting. Holy smokes, that'll be a good show.
Well, we had a good run.
Yeah.
we had a good run.
All right,
just
wow,
like the
what
Blue
a
Jays,
show.
I think
This
we
is
know
our
when to-
last episode.
Last episode.
I'm not competing with that.
I am going to listen to that instead of recording this.
Agreed.
That'll
Holy
be a great
shit,
show.
really?
Yeah. That would be a
I
great
wonder if
show.
they need to
Adam is
produce it.
already tweeting instead of talking about this podcast.
Adam, don't tweet.
I just said,
during
wow,
the
that will be a
podcast.
fantastic show. Anyway, let's do the press conference, shall we?
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle
What would you
Press
rather have?
Conference.
This is from Leafs fan 96. It's not. It's opposite of nice. That's ice. No, that's not.
Ooh.
No.
Ooh.
What's
I feel
nice?
like you just let me off the hook.
What's nice backwards?
No.
No. Oh,
No.
Nope.
Leafs fan 96 says.
Ethan.
Thank you. I just wanted to get that. Would you rather have Nylander play defense or have Polak play wing?
Nylander play defense. I actually think he'd be okay at it.
Polak play wing for the Oilers. Oh, yeah. Also, I feel like I've been too hard on the Oilers of late. I don't know.
That has nothing to do with
You're
the
right.
question.
I'm sorry. I just
great,
thought I would
Steve.
bring it up while I mentioned it.
Tell me your
All
thoughts.
right, listen, Tweety
Tell me your
McTweet.
thoughts on modern Christianity while you're at it.
I mean, I could easily, why talk about that, Adam, when I could easily just talk about World War II? I mean, I could talk about World War II
could.
for, yeah. Nylander on defense. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. He's a better hockey player. There you go.
This is TL Leafs fan 44.
Not terribly complicated, but he's a better hockey player.
When do you think Borgman will get more than 13 minutes and 30 seconds a night on average?
When you don't have to shelter Polak.
Yeah. Oh my God. Maybe as the season progresses, I feel like didn't Matthews start, even when he was playing good at like 15, 16 and a half minutes a game, and then Babcock steadily gave him more time. If he trusts Borgman more, and I think he should, I've liked Borgman of late. And again, remember, we got 50 games left. We'll probably see Borgman in the 14, 15 range, which for a rookie defenseman in this league, I don't think is so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's so bad. He's a good player. Good player. And injuries might necessitate that too. That is something I'm very interested in, because has anyone been hurt this season? Have any of the Leafs defenders missed a game except for Carrick and Polak?
Good question. I don't think so.
Who would even get called up?
I don't know. Kind of exciting though, isn't it?
Well, you have an extra man, so you don't need to call up anybody right now.
Extra man's.
Oh yeah, Carrick. I guess
Yeah.
you're right.
But man, I mean, we haven't even talked about that. That's a good point. Who
Like,
would be
if
the
someone
guy?
gets hurt on the right side, especially, who gets called up? Is it Justin Hall because he's a righty shot? Is it Valiev because he's played there? Is it one of
Liljegren?
I can't remember the veteran guy, Laverty? Could be Liljegren. I doubt it. If someone gets hurt on the left, do you give Dermott a call? Do you give Ghostbusters a call? Martin Marincin. How did it take me like 8 names to get to the guy who was on the Leafs last year?
It's the guy I don't call because then I have to put him through waivers to put him back.
I'm just saying.
Throwing that out there. Anyway, interesting.
If you were inventing the game of hockey tomorrow,
Oh no.
would you include the offside rule?
No,
Why do you guys? Okay,
that was a great question
what
from
do you
Jeff
guys make
Merrick.
us think? Like at this point of the show, I'm fried.
I know. You're right. But
Would I
okay,
have the offside rule? Hell yeah, I would.
you would have the offside
Yeah,
rule?
because then you're going to have a guy fucking sitting up 150 feet of a 200-foot ice thing, just sitting there waiting for fucking passes.
And
That's not true.
that's not how basketball works.
Yeah.
Nobody sits at the other end. These guys
it
are
happens,
professional.
but
They're
it's
too
rare.
good for that to happen.
Yeah, like
You can't be playing 5-on-4 in the offensive zone.
That's the number one response is, oh, well, you'll just have a guy there. Well, it's still 5-on-5. Like, it's still equal number of players. If there's a guy, guard him. That's your job.
Yeah.
As you have 2 defenders, I think that's your job.
I'm a purist. No way.
Get rid of it.
I like offside.
Get rid of it. Start by getting rid of it for 3-on-3 overtime.
You know what the problem is? We got I'm going to get old on you guys. We got a generation of people playing NHL 3s who are like, wow, a game would be so much
A
better.
generation, you mean 3 months the game's been out.
I know. That's why I'm saying it. But I'm being obtuse for a reason.
You
but
know, it's fair. I was playing 3s, and I think I'm the king. And then I played Jesse at regular hockky, and I'm like, this is bullshit.
yeah,
so
and
hard.
Jesse puts it on the part where you can't corner as
Jesse
hard,
puts
which
it
is
on literally. He typed in unfun.
what's the version called? It's like
It's hardcore sim is the
it's
hardcore sim.
awful.
Yeah,
And he's
is what I call
fucking
it.
good at it,
So yeah,
man.
your game style is set to full simulation, and then the opponent's set to superstar. So it's hardcore sim.
Anyway,
Anyways, so you would eliminate offside? Hockey would be a lot more interesting.
I think so.
Yeah.
Hey, here's one from Steve D. How do you think a league like the 3HL is going to do? Have you heard of this?
Is that happening?
Yeah, it's just 3-on-3, and I think it's pro. I don't know if they get much, and I think there's some former NHLers in it. I want to say Luka
cool.
Caputi
gimmicky.
or something like that. Yeah,
Of course.
but
So was arena football, but that's very successful.
Is it?
Yes.
No
They're
kidding.
Still going?
Didn't know that.
Chugging along? Making
Well,
money?
but yeah, they must be making money, right?
Yeah, yeah. Summer, yeah.
it's super gimmicky. But do you think it could be successful?
I don't know if hockey's big enough that a gimmick within hockey works.
Yeah.
Because
Good
hockey
point.
Because you can
itself
scale
struggles.
football, right?
You can, exactly.
Like rugby sevens. You can't do hockey 3s, eh?
Yeah. So
Well, it's just not
Not
big
yet.
enough.
I don't know if there's enough people in America who will care, or enough people in Canada. Well, in Canada, I don't know. Maybe it can be a local thing, but I don't know if you scale it like Adam said, like football.
Canada also flirts with oversaturation of hockey.
Oh,
There's not enough of us there's so many hockey teams.
Yeah.
In Ontario, it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's not, you could turn to your left and, just be texting someone and accidentally bump into a hockey game.
But it's say the same to baseball in the States or football in the States, right?
I don't know.
True. But
I'm not there
you can't rent a sheet of ice in Toronto for less than $500.
It's insane.
And it'll be at 3 a.m. because all the other times during waking hours are booked by clubs.
Why I don't play rec league hockey.
Yeah.
Because I can't go to the times that they want, and I don't know how people live and play rec hockey. Like,
Hey,
it's-
so I play on Sundays at midnight.
yeah, no.
Pay $200.
How about no? That would be a big old fat no for me. The last thing I
Tweet
want.
us if you do that.
Oh no, there's.
Oh, yeah. Half
They all
listeners.
do.
Yeah.
The last thing
I wish I
want,
could.
The last thing I want is some jackass, some Tommy Tryhard who takes it too seriously and never airs out his fucking equipment to jam his elbow in my neck at midnight on a Sunday.
Yeah.
That's just not a good time for me.
And you can't do your job the next day.
Yeah.
You got to take a day off work,
Because
you know?
Tommy Tryhard's like, I don't give a shit. I hate my job anyway. I'm gonna try too hard and I'm gonna be way too intense about this.
Take
I don't
out
need that.
Adam Wilde at the knees.
That was so funny. So I started playing my first game at that charity hockey tournament without, I didn't have a visor or cage or anything. And it's funny. I feel like most places they wouldn't even bat an eye, but because, like, I'm on a team with like Brendan Dunlop and Ken Reed and like all these media folks. And they're like, dude, you're not playing with a cage?
You're nuts.
And I go, no, I didn't have one. They go, but the face. The face, man.
Protect
so-
the moneymaker, man.
After that game, I went and got a cage screw.
And mouth guard. Always have a mouth guard.
Didn't have one.
If you fall on your chin without a mouth guard, trust me, as someone who's done it, not only could you chip teeth, but it hurts like a motherfucker and
I know.
concussions.
And
I
don't
just
Mitch
figured
Marner don't Mitch Marner it. Keep it in your mouth.
Well, I figure,
Right?
Yeah, or JVR. I figure I would be
JVR too.
okay because I feel like I couldn't move around enough to actually hurt myself. I was the freshest guy on our bench. Because I couldn't move.
Couldn't get off of it.
Yeah. I fell down. I fell down twice on my first shift, and then I fell down on the bench, too. I suck.
That's fun, though.
Yeah, it was fun.
Dude, for someone who never played before, like,
Good times.
you're going to fall.
I won a face-off. I won 3. I think they let
As
you
someone who's
win
never
2.
played before, of course you track that.
You bet. Buddy, I remember every successful thing I pulled off that day. I had like 1 good pass, 3 face-off wins, and a block shot.
By the way, the Elliot Friedman, Jeff Merrick podcast will be called 31 Thoughts, the podcast. Holy mother of God. What a great idea.
I have some furious texts to send.
That's amazing.
I have some.
Do you think they'll come on our show and promote their show? I hope they do.
They should just come on and do it.
Yeah. Well, our show is basically their show. On Tuesdays, I'm like, oh, I'm going to pull some prep from 31 Thoughts.
This is so annoying.
That is a.
What the fuck, guys? What are we supposed to do now?
Oh, my God.
I may or may not have pitched this idea.
It doesn't matter,
I'm glad they did it.
So you put this evil on us, huh?
No, I think because they were being very secretive, so I think they were already thinking it. I certainly didn't. Yeah.
Well, you know, the one thing...
God, that's a good podcast, man.
One thing they don't have is Jim Diamond. They don't have Jim Diamond, do they?
It'll get you. I want the 30-second thought to be, it'll get you.
It'll get you.
I'm never listening to us again.
No?
I never did.
Good run.
Anyway, hey, thanks for listening. Marley's game. Look out for us on Twitter if you entered the contest.
Are we skating on the ice
No,
after the game? No? Okay.
we're not. That'll be next time, which we got another game coming with the Marlies, so look out for that
What else aren't we
the
doing,
spring.
Jesse?
We're not.
Here's a list of the things you don't get. Oh, we're ending on that?
So anyway, here's what you're not going to get. You are going to get box seats, so be on the lookout for our tweets. We love you guys. We'll see you Tuesday.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.